got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up until...
We're in Needle Park, Kensington, aka the Badlands. You're talking to Mary. Welcome to my channel, Push for Change. Fred, introduce yourself.
Frederick Francis Freehouse. Because of my moniker, because of my name, I have a very difficult time. I have a very, very difficult time
Okay.
because of my moniker.
Okay.
Because of my name. So, with that being said,
How old are you?
I'm the big 3'9".
Tell us about you and what do you want everybody to know about you?
Even though I this is something that I do, it's something I've done for a very long time. It's not a personal thing, and because the stigma that's put on addicts as well as myself, that I'm not just a junkie, that I'm way more than that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nice, nice. Okay, what is your current situation?
as in terms of what, like,
As in, are you homeless? Where do you live? What are you doing in your life right now?
okay, so I'm not homeless.
Okay.
I live with my fiance in Souderton, which is Montgomery County.
Okay.
My situation is that she supports me financially, emotionally, in every other way possible.
Yes, shout out to Dawn.
Yes, absolutely. Big shout out to Dawn.
Yes.
She's everything to me. But yeah, because of her, I am not homeless, and I am everything that I am now because of her, excluding the heroin use. I mean, yeah, it's not an easy situation. I wish I could just break it down for you in a couple of different words and just say that it was, these certain things, but it's not. It's a lot harder than that. But yeah, not to say that I couldn't easily be homeless down here. And when I do come down here, I would love to be down here. Mm-hmm. See, I romanticize Kensington when I'm not near it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I really do. I'll sit there and, I want to be here, and the yearn and the pull of Kensington is so strong for me sometimes. Just because it's like I'm so close to everything that makes me feel the way I want to feel.
Right. What does your 24-hour day of your life look like?
Well, that's a loaded question. So, depending on where I'm at, like if I'm at home and I have enough to get me by, my
Mm-hmm.
24 hours looks a lot like me sleeping all day.
Okay.
Me sleeping a lot, me not coming out of my room. If it's down here, my 24 hours looks like nonstop walking, nonstop running for samples, nonstop, trying to find a place where I can get high to where people won't steal my.
Right.
So, yeah, that's the juxtaposition between, it's like I'm living two different lives,
Right. What made you start using, Fred?
So, how much time do we have?
As much time as you want.
So, what made me start using, I think, was I had a disconnect with people. I didn't feel like I could bond with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I felt like, the outcast, the odd man out. So when I found opiates or just drugs in general, I felt like it gave me so much personality. I was able to be the person I wanted to be, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what made me start to use. My social battery would run for so much longer when I was using, and people started to like me, and I was like, wow, this is what it feels like to actually like be a part of something and connect with people. And I found that in drugs.
Really? Wow, that's really interesting, because just talking to you, right? And I say it to you all the time, off camera, that you're so intelligent. Like, it gives me the chills. And you can talk to anybody. That's really interesting.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's take it back to your childhood. What was your life like growing up?
Growing up was, so I didn't find this out too much later, but so my mom left when I was very young to pursue a career in crack addiction, and she did that for 30 years.
Okay.
Down here,
Mm-hmm.
jumping out of cars, doing what she had to do for her next one. And my father was in federal prison,
Mm.
So my grandmother raised my sister and I, and
Yes.
so it was great. I mean, it was great when my grandmother had us. We moved up to Ben Salem.
That's a nice area too.
Beautiful. I mean, the
Yes.
house I grew up in was amazing. I didn't want for anything. If I said that it was like super duper hard, I'd be lying because it wasn't. It was just those little times to where my father was home, and the DEA was kicking our door in, or the phone was tapped, or you know, just like just stepping over people in the morning because my dad had his friends over,
Yeah.
and it was that was normalcy though for me. I didn't realize that it was traumatic until years later when I actually dealt with it, and I went and seen a therapist, and I sat down, and I realized that these things aren't normal, that kids shouldn't be going through these things, but still it was like it wasn't anything that me up, I guess you should
Right.
say, like but
Okay.
it
It's
wasn't
alright.
anything that led me to using.
Okay.
And some people's story is that. Some people's story is, they had a bad childhood, they were sexually abused, which I was, but it wasn't anything that led me to using. I've dealt with those things years later, but it wasn't, again, it wasn't anything that was, I think for me, more or less, it was, like I said, it was the whole connection thing. Wanting to be just, just close to somebody, just be somebody's friend. I think that was it for me. But my childhood was absolutely. If I tell other people, when I tell other people certain things that happened, they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god," and I'm like, "What? Oh my god, what? What do you?
Yeah.
What are you talking?" Like that's not normal, and I'm like, "What? Oh, okay." So, but no, it wasn't bad. My grandmother gave us everything we needed, everything we wanted. She was phenomenal. Also an alcoholic, but she was great, man. She was awesome. My childhood was actually okay up until my formative teenage years.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when did you unite with your mother?
So I saw my mother. So even saying her name in my house was a big no-no. We weren't allowed to talk about her. My grandmother was really upset with her.
Yes.
So when I got of age, maybe 14, 15 years old, I sought her out. We found her, a couple friends of mine and I, and we went and seen her. She was still in her active addiction, and yeah, she was great. She was amazing. I mean, I just always wanted that relationship with her, and even if I didn't have that, just to meet her, just to know who she was.
Nice.
And yeah, so and a couple years later, she ended up getting sober.
That's nice. That's awesome. Do you mind telling us a story about you and your father, like how you and his relationship was?
So my dad was he was an outlaw biker through and through. That's just who he was. And so when he was away, when I was younger, I didn't know him. I mean, I kind of grew up with him being incarcerated. So when he did come home, I was already a preteen, and I had all these different things built up in my head of what I thought, what I wanted him to be, I guess.
Yes.
Let's go play catch, or just different things that I saw my friends' dads doing with them.
Right.
And so that wasn't the case. So really fast, I had to accept him for who he was going to be in order to have a relationship with him. I realized real quickly that, I don't think he ever really was meant to be a father. And I don't mean that in a negative way. What I mean by that is he was in Vietnam, he was in the Navy. So, him growing up, I know that he was told, and a lot of those people were told, that generation was told, you meet a woman, you settle down, you have kids, and that's just what you did. And that's what he did. And, he wasn't there. So in order to have a relationship with him when he was there, we became really, really good friends. And I'm so glad we did.
Right.
I accepted him for who he was at a very young age.
Yes.
That he wasn't going to be anybody else but him. And I loved him anyway. And that was really, really good because we got super duper close. We formed this great friendship that still to this day, I consider him my best friend. There was nothing that we couldn't talk about. You know, we were together all the time, and yeah, it was just like again, like when people say, when they talk about, you know, trauma, or they talk about things like that, or relationships they have with their parents or their fathers, it's such a far cry from the relationship I had with my dad.
Yes.
But I wouldn't want it any other way. It was
Right.
it was the best relationship I've ever had.
That's
Yeah.
good. Aw. All right, Fred, how do you make your money?
So I used to have female shugs.
Go, Fred. You're freaking awesome.
But I used to have female shugs, and that was, so I never was good at boosting, because I mean, look at me, I'm heavily tattooed and modified, so you know, that was just not a thing for me. I was never good at it.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't trick, because it's not in me. I'm heterosexual. Just, even if it's something that like I might want to try, it was just nothing I could do.
Right.
I just didn't have it in me. So I used what I had, and what I had is I could speak well, and I was honest, and you know, before my teeth started going, I wasn't the worst looking person in the world. So yeah, so I would absolutely use these women for financial gain, you know, and it's not, I didn't have to sleep with them. It wasn't like that. I mean, it was more or less just like company. It was more or less just, you know, letting them know I was okay, just being around, and they supported my habit. So, and now, like I said, like my fiance supports me financially, because she doesn't want me doing, as she says, F, you know.
Yeah.
So,
and she does love you.
You know, I'm well aware. And
yeah.
it's not, and that relationship isn't like the relationships I had with my female shugs. It's completely different. She feels as if though, and I don't want people to come down on her, because it would be unfair to do that. I mean, she struggles with this. Trust me, she does, and it's not easy. It's not easy for her or myself. But you know, she knows that if I don't feel well, and you know, she gets it. If I don't feel well and I start to, you know, go through my stuff, that I'm gonna figure out a way to get right. You know, I just will.
Yes.
So she pretty much takes care of that. If I'm being completely candid, yeah.
Fred, what does it smell like in Kensington? In your own words.
I don't know, false hopes and dreams. So
that's a good answer.
Yeah,
though.
no, it's funny you say that. So I mean, aside from the rotting flesh, I mean, it's terrible, man. I mean, it's despair. It's funny because it does have a distinct smell to it, and sometimes you know, you can't put your finger on it. But if I spend enough time down here, I will literally go home or wherever I'm at and go, I have to wash all these clothes because they smell like Kensington, you know?
Yep. And you know what? When I come down here, the smell.
Yeah.
I can't eat.
It's feces. It's urine.
Yep.
It's, you know, again, like I said, it's you know, necrotic skin. It's just everything that you wouldn't want to smell is Kensington.
What is the worst thing you've seen in Kensington?
Okay, so I used to volunteer at Savage.
Okay.
And I used to, like, you know, like roll cigarettes for them, and I was still in active addiction and everything, but like I got really close with the people there. Shout out Savage Sisters, they're phenomenal.
Yes, they are.
So they have a partition where they do wound care.
Okay.
And I had a friend of mine that was doing wound care there, and she was like, hey, do you mind if I show my friend this? Is this okay? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So she calls, the woman doing wound care calls me out. So I come out of the bathroom, and the girl that's sitting there getting wound care, she's holding her arm up like this.
Yes.
And she's holding her arm, like, you ever look at something and it takes your eyes a minute to like process what you're looking at? Like, you don't really realize it.
Yeah.
So you're looking at, so where her hand should be was like a bunch of like skin that was bunched up.
Yeah.
And she had a box in her lap, and she opens it up, and her hand was in this box.
What?
Her entire hand was in this box, and it was like, it was necrotic. It was small. It was shriveled.
What?
And she's like, "Do you think they could put this back on in the hospital?" And I was just like, I don't know, and I just walked away.
What?
So, yeah, that was rough. Like when I think back,
And then what did they say?
I don't know. I don't know what they told her. I mean, obviously, it gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It gone at that
Yeah.
point. But like,
Yo, that's crazy.
well, you know what I couldn't stop thinking about?
What?
How it happened. Like, do you think she was going to the bathroom one day and she like went to wipe and she's like, ah, man, and like her hands are getting the toilet.
In the toilet.
Like, yeah. Like, ah, you know, she's like,
Oh no.
yeah.
But
Oh no, it's right.
wasn't it like bloody and stuff?
I would imagine
Like the nub
no,
or her
no,
arm?
I mean, it was like, you know, but it wasn't. What I imagine happened was that she was injecting in her arterial veins,
Yes.
which is veins that you have in your wrists,
Yes.
and they carry arterial gases to your heart. That's what they do.
Okay.
And so when you inject in them and you kill them, then at that point they die rather fast. And I imagine
Damn,
that's
Fred,
what
you're
happened.
so smart.
You know,
Damn.
no, I just absorb things fast. I guess.
Wow.
But I would imagine, I could be wrong completely, but I imagine that's what happened. And over time, she just kept injecting into it. You know, just like I've seen a girl that was injecting into her, she was manipulating her left arm with her right arm. She couldn't move her left.
Yeah.
She had an ace bandage around like this area of her arm.
Yes.
So we're in the park the one night, and I would like hang out with her. She would boost and sell clothes, and I would hang out with her at night so she wouldn't get robbed.
Okay.
So she was like, you know, if you help me out and you help me sell these clothes, like I'll take care of you. I'm like,
Okay.
"Oh, no problem." But I was more or less doing it. So like she was just a young girl. She was awesome.
Yes.
So anyway, we're sitting in the park and we're you know about to get on, and I could smell her arm, you know, sitting next to me, which wasn't anything new.
Yeah.
But I looked at her and I was like, hey, can I see it? Because both my arms at the time were fairly bad.
Yeah.
I said, look, both my arms are bad. Do you mind if I take a look at it? So she pulls her arm over like this and she takes the bandage off, and it was bone and tendon, complete bone. I mean, bone.
My goodness.
And she was injecting into the wound, and so I'm literally like, you know, I just looked at her and I said, look, you know, you're a grown woman. You're gonna do what you want to do. I said, but if you don't go to the hospital, you're gonna die from this. You're gonna absolutely die from this. They're gonna take your arm. Accept they're gonna take your arm. Accept that. That's the reality.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but if you don't go soon, you will not live through this. You'll get sepsis and you will die.
Yeah.
And usually when they find sepsis in somebody is after they're dead. That's how fast it kills you.
Wow.
So I don't see her for a little bit, and then about a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks goes by, and I get a tap on my shoulder. I'm out front of Savage, and it's her. And I'm like, oh my God, and I give her a big hug, and she turns to the side, and they amputated her arm 6 inches above the elbow.
Oh my, really? Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was awesome that she was alive.
Yes.
And she was back down here. Yeah, you know, that's just, I mean, I saw a woman's, this is another thing. So I see this girl that I was in treatment with.
Okay.
Really, really thin girl.
Mm-hmm.
And her stomach's distended, like she's pregnant.
Yes.
So we're just rapping for a minute, and I'm like, excuse me, I'm like, what are you doing? You know, I heard doing dates and stuff. It's the middle of summer. She's like, yeah, you know, whatever. And I was like, how far along are you? She's like, I'm not. And I was like, oh, well, what's wrong? She goes, I haven't had a bowel movement in over 3 months.
What? And what
What? So all that was backed up fecal matter. And so I'm like, I'm looking at her going, you're going to have to go to the hospital or something. Like, I've never seen anything like it.
Yes.
You know, I'm like, and imagine like, if you go through this is going to split you open like a piece of firewood.
Exactly.
Like,
yes.
You're going to die or something. And I'm like, cause I know what it's like for me when I don't go for like a week.
Yeah.
And then it's like a sandpaper softball, and I'm like, I get like anxiety.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's
oh
gonna be terrible.
My goodness.
But yeah, that was rough too. But there's just a few things. That's all. But yeah.
So then, did you see her after that or no?
I did a while later, and she was back to normal. And I was like, I don't want to know.
Right.
I don't want to know what that was like.
You're so funny.
Yeah.
Fred, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
So, like doing well, like or like just in general.
No,
because
where do you see yourself in 5 years?
It depends. It depends. Like I struggle with the fact that I feel like I should suffer in my active addiction.
No, you never should. You never should.
But
you're worth so much.
But that's how I feel. That's how I feel. So I struggle with the fact that this won't kill me. but I will live through it my whole life, and I'll suffer in it, and I'll watch everybody around me that I care about go. And that's worse. That's way worse than dying from this, I feel. But if I wasn't in it, and I wasn't suffering in my addiction, and I was doing well,
Yes.
I see myself opening up a shop, and Dawn and I running it, and like completely crushing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can see that.
Yeah.
Really, because you have a good girlfriend by your side.
Yeah.
You're very intelligent.
Yeah,
You deserve the best in life.
it's hard to hear stuff like that, but I appreciate it. You know?
No, but really, I tell you that all the time.
I know, and you're not the only one. It's just, it's really hard to hear stuff like that. It just is. You know?
Okay, so then, can you please tell me 2 positive qualities you love about yourself? Well, no, give me 3. I want to hear 3.
I don't know.
Oh, Fred, come on. I can name a million.
I don't know. As much as I don't want to admit it, I care a lot about people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially people that are in active addiction.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I guess I have a bigger heart than I like to give myself credit for.
Okay.
You know, I just qualities. I could sing.
Yes, you can. Yes.
I enjoy it. I thoroughly enjoy it.
Can you sing us just one line, please? Just one.
No,
oh,
I can't.
Fred, come on. Close your eyes and do it.
Close your eyes and do it.
Yes.
Yeah, like that's gonna make like ostrich syndrome. Like you're still gonna be here if I close my eyes. You know? But you know, certain people get that. Like Dawn gets that, and certain people I care about get that. You know what I mean? Like, and yeah, one day I would love to like do something with it, of course. You know, because other people tell me all the time that it sounds well. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that. You know, and I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much. And I guess what the other one would be that I'm intelligent. So
yes, very, very. I wish I was like you. No, for real. I said, Fred, once you get out of rehab, then the day you get out, I'm calling you, and you're going to be tutoring me.
For
yes,
sure.
you are.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be so great.
Yes, no, for real.
Really.
Okay, Fred, what are your short-term goals?
My short-term goals, so I want to get back on methadone.
Okay.
And because it's helped me tremendously. And so my goal for methadone is I want to revisit it in 6 months and see where I'm at on it. And then if I still want to be on it, then I'll revisit it in a year and see where I'm at on it, excuse me. And then if I want to come off it, I'll come off it, but I don't want to be on it for a long time. I just want to be on it long enough to as a safety net, because I know a person like myself who's been doing this for so long. I personally subscribe to the fact that I need something.
Yes.
Whether it be a buprenorphine or whatever, or methadone or whatever, but just harm reduction in general and MAT.
Yes.
And I'm a huge advocate for it. If it helps people, then yeah, hell yeah.
Yes.
That's my short-term goals, as in terms of that, to start working again, and just be the person that I know that Dawn deserves. You know? So.
Yeah. Fred, what have you learned through all your struggles?
It's tough. It's another loaded question. We're going through all my struggles, huh? I guess that I'm a pretty good example of the fact that no matter what you've gone through or been through, or what you're still going through now, that you can still be a decent person.
Yes.
And you don't have to let your past define you. At all. You don't have to let your present define you at all. You don't have to let the fact that you're not doing so great or you haven't done so great pretty much determine your morality. I think that for me personally, especially me, is that I've come to a point that I don't let my addiction dictate being a good person,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, and then Fred, one fact you would like to share with the world.
That shows like intervention don't work for people.
Okay.
If you have an addict in your life that you care about, love them anyway.
Yes.
And
Don't give up on them.
yeah, they, tell them that whether they're using or not, that you care about them. Don't make the relationship contingent based off what you want them to do. And I'm not saying to give these people money to kill themselves, but I'm saying, like, you know, that whole word enabling carries such a negative connotation that I think that it's not always a bad thing. I especially for myself, and I know I can speak for a million other addicts, that we just need people to love us when we can't love ourselves. And even if at first that doesn't work, just don't give up on us.
Right.
You know?
If anybody wanted to offer you services, food, clothing, anything, do you have an email that you would like to give out? Thank you for watching. I'm going to push for change.